So we've been learning about layout, and we've been using learnlayout.com. And of course, no layout works just absolutely fine. Just block level elements and inline level elements. Then we learned about the display property. And so the display property has different values, right? A declaration in CSS. So we have in CSS, we have our rules set, and a rule set is made up of selector and a declaration block. And declaration block is made up of declarations, and declarations are properties and values. And if you're like, okay, that all sounded like you know what you're talking about, but I can't picture it in my head. This first chapter, I came back to many times, and still sometimes I'm like, I come back here, but that's what I just basically said, right? So this is known as a rule set, and you got your selector and your declaration block. In your declaration block, a block is between curly braces, and declaration blocks made up of declarations, and declarations are made up of properties and values. So when we have, you want to see it a second more? Take it in. Still processing it. Somebody say it back. What is this? Okay, well this is the declaration block right there between the braces. So what's the whole deal? This is a selector, but what's this whole deal called? Rule set. It's a rule set. And it's made up of selector and declaration block. In declaration block, the block's anything between the curly braces. Declaration block's made up of declarations. Declarations are made up of properties and values. Okay? Properties and values. So somebody say it back to me. Are you laughing because it's easy, or you're laughing because, dang, I spaced on it again? What's this whole deal called? It's a rule set. A rule set's made up of what? Selector and declaration block. And declaration block's made up of what? Declarations. And declarations are made up of what? Properties and values. And anytime things are between braces, we could call that a code block. Okay, so that's why we call it declaration block. Now I'm just saying all that again because we were reviewing display property value, right? So if display is a property, what are the different values for display? There's a bunch of them, but what are the primary ones we were looking at last week? Why don't you all turn your monitor sideways, except Rio could do whatever she'd like. Turn your monitor sideways, because I just hear this. I ask a question, this is what I hear. I don't speak Morse. I don't speak Morse code. Speak to me in English. Let me see your eyes. Let me see your lips. So, display property, monitor sideways. Because otherwise it's just too... Alan, you are accepted since you've been programming more than 20 years. You can do whatever the hell you like. At your discretion. Everybody else, monitor sideways. So that you don't have glow against your glasses or against your eyeballs. Come on, I didn't get enough attention as a kid. Hurry. Time's limited. I got to fill up that empty hole within me. I tried art. It didn't work. Cool. All right, so display property. What are some of the most common values that we set for the display property? We talked about last week. Block. So a lot of things by default have block, display block, right? So block's one of the values. What's another one of the values? I want to hear 4. So you got 3 to go. Inline, and inline block. You got one more to go. So you got block, inline block, and none. What did you say it was? None. So those are the different properties we looked at last week. Display block, display inline block, and display none. Cool. And then we also looked at max width. We saw that a little bit, which just means, hey, don't let something get wider than a certain, that's the max width. Fran, for what do you grace us with your presence?
This is CIT 85, right?
Correct.
Mr. Bowen here, this is his speedy that was approved.
Uh-huh. Whoa.
See here?
Mr. Bowen?
Ryan?
Ryan Bowen? Isn't that awful? We let him in and he doesn't come.
Okay.
Just like
I'll
a
call
kid.
him. See if he's coming.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Rio.
You
Just
wanna
drop it
hold
right
on to
there.
this?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
if he
usually he'll be
doesn't
here
show
in a
up, bring it
second.
back, okay?
I will. I'll drop it through the mailbox if he doesn't show up.
We'll bring it back to us, yeah. Wait, when you over, 5?
6. All right. And then we've learned about the box model. Okay, so what's the box model? Somebody tell it to, actually better yet, you two one of you tell it to the other. Right here, you 3, one of you tell it to the 3. Right here, you 2, one of you tell it to the other. Right there, you 3, one of you tell it, right? And you 3 right there, one of you explain it to the other. You 2, you 3 right there, one of you explain what's the box model. So for the box model, you should have said everything is made up of boxes on web pages. And those boxes consist of content, and then they have padding around them, and then they have a border, and then they have margin. And those are all different CSS properties, the padding, border, and margin, which you have access to. So that's the box model. Now I want you all, whoever spoke, or if you're both speaking, that's cool. If you're all speaking, that's fine. But if there's only one person speaking last time, this time the other person speaks. And I want you to explain to your little group, what is box sizing border box? Or is it border box sizing? Which is it? How do you remember? And what is it? Well, now you just blew it for the person who didn't know. All right, now explain box sizing border box to your group. We are now doing margin 0 auto. And margin 0 auto. Is that what you guys got? How many people got that? Cool. So that's what you needed. And now when I look at this, but it's there. I could give it a height too, maybe. Spell it correctly. There we go. Looks a little bit more interesting. All right, so the next thing I want you to do is create 4 divs with different background colors and give them rounded corners and put them right in the center. Better yet, make them circles. 4 different colors using divs right in the center, right here. Next step was to create 4 divs, and I want them all to have a unique ID. And how do I do an ID in cheat sheet? Emmet cheat sheet. There's going to be my $sign, right? But is it pound? Ahaha! I was a little bit surprised when I nailed the Emmet stuff. So that's kind of cool. Let's just duplicate that and comment that out. So there are my 4 IDs. And then I need to style my divs. And I need to give them a width of 200 pixels and a height of 200 pixels and border radius of 100%. And so that's going to create a bunch of circles, and then I need to do for each of these margin 0 auto. So each of them have no margin on the top or bottom, and the left and right margin is set automatically to be equivalent. So that's going to put all my divs in the center and give them a circular thing. Now I just need to do some IDs here. And the ID needs to be 1. This is going to create issues for me. Color red. And then number 2, color blue. And then number 3, color green. And then number 4, color yellow. Red, blue, green, yellow. And so now I'm ready to preview my page and have it not work. Huh? So color would be the text color. So you select all those and make it background color. And maybe I'll give it all a border of 1 pix, solid black. Let's make it 3 dashed. Let's preview it again, see how we're looking. Cool. I got all those. Kind of an interesting design. But my colors didn't fill in. How come? It doesn't like IDs as numbers for whatever reason. If I make them like that, and then they are no longer numbers, weird.
It's funny because I automatically use class.
I think with class the number's okay. But technically speaking, if you're just applying it to one thing, it should be an ID. Maybe there's a performance consideration, which I'm not bringing to mind right now. So that's kind of cool. How many people are enjoying these little drill challenges? Raise your hand. Okay, so the next drill challenge is to create a horizontal menu using the display property and unordered list. So create a horizontal menu. It's going to be built with an unordered list. Those will be the list items in the menu. And then make it horizontal using the display property. And make your touch target awesome. Right? Not just the text, but like the whole button. Create a horizontal menu. How many people want just to look at the code? Raise your hand. How many people want to see me code it? Raise your hand. How many people want to vote again? How many people want to see me code it? Raise your hand. How many people? All right, never mind. Split, right. All right, so I need to create a menu. So I'll do an unordered list, meaning I'll have bullets, not numbers. Inside that, I'll have an LI, and I'll have like 5 items. And inside each LI, I think maybe I want some, I don't know, button. Whatever the button's going to be. And do I need anything else? Do I need to give them any unique classes or IDs or anything? There we go. So I've got my 5 buttons. And now I'm going to do my CSS. So I think I just get rid of all this. And if I just look at this with no CSS, what I have so far, that's what I have. So I need to get rid of my buttons. And so to get rid of my buttons, I think I'll do an LI. And the LI is not text decoration, but it is CSS remove button LI. Huh. What's turned off? The internet? Yeah, but I should have just Ethernet. Because I've got Ethernet right here. Let me unplug it. Just this right here. Let's try again. What's up, man? I feel like the monkey. You just keep hitting the button. And maybe it'll work this time.
This style 5
I think that's it. Cool. List style type none. Ooh, Armenian. Nice. That's going to go over good in Fresno. Alright, so did I get rid of my buttons? Buttons are gone. And my next thing is to make that all horizontal. Display inline block. All horizontal. And then my next thing is to give it a border. Where do I want to do the border? I want my touch target here. Those will be links. And so there was one more thing I should have had here, and that's anchor tag. How do I include an anchor tag around each of the links there? So I think it's going to be an LI, and those are all times 5. And each of those will have an anchor tag like that. And you all good?
Almost.
What's up? You look like you need something.
Yes.
So does this look right? Is that how many people say, show hands, that that's going to be the right emmet? The right correct emmet to fill in an anchor tag around all the text? How many people, yes? Take a stand. How many people, no? No, that's not right. Doesn't even go. Huh? How do I do that? Anybody got suggestions? LI, and inside each LI there's an anchor, and the anchor has text, and we need 5 LIs. Does that look better? How many people think that's going to work? Raise your hand. How many people do not? How many people do not have much confidence in my emmet skills? So and I could just pound each of those. There we go. Cool, so now I've got links. So now what I want to style to get my touch target. How do we do that, remember? Who could explain how we did it? I want to get a nice fat touch target. Think about the box model. What has to happen in the box model? For me, that was like the key insight Thursday. It's like, oh, right, the box model. Think about the box model. So we got that text. Just so you can see what it looks like right now. That's what it's looking like. But we want to put a nice border, and we want to push that border out. So it's a nice fat touch target. How are we going to do that? Think about the box model. What's going to get the border? Let's do the border first. We're going to put the border on the A or the LI? Okay, the A. How many people say the A? Raise your hand. How many people say the LI? How many people just don't know? All right, so we're going to do this by consensus. You all have to vote. You're going to vote for either the A or the LI. And then we're going to put it on that one. Those who want to put it on the A, raise your hand. Those who want to put it on the LI, raise your hand. Okay, that was 4-4 out of a class of 18. I don't think that's all voting. Let's put it on the A and see what happens. So A, my rule set here, border, 2 pixels, solid black. Okay? And now we're going to look at that and see what that looks like. That's what that looks like. What's the next thing we need to do? Think about the box model. We want to make our touch target bigger. Let me help you out. Right now, what are we looking at? We got text, and it's got an anchor tag around it. And we said put a border around the anchor tag. How do we push that border out? What do we need to make bigger? Padding. Let's beef up that padding, man. Let's push the padding out. On which one? The anchor, the LI, or the text? What's getting the padding? Anchor. Let's put the padding on that anchor and see what happens. Padding, 20 picks. And let's do a border radius. Well, we'll do one thing at a time. Padding, 20 picks. Let's check it out. Cool. And now, anywhere. Not necessarily over the text. But that's still not looking too good. So one thing we could do is we got to get it off our top bar, right? How do we get it off our the top of our page? Yeah, I just saw somebody say it. Well, add a little margin to that. The border, other side of the border, you got margin. Add some margin. All right, let's add some margin. And I'm going to add the margin to the LI. Okay, that came out some. Separated them. What happens if I add a little margin down here? Still pretty high on the top. It's kind of interesting. So I might say body margin. A little better. What else can I do to make this look nice? I want to make it look nice. Make it nice. Yeah, let's do some border radius. So where do I want to put that on? A or LI? Why A? Because it's got the border. Cool. And now what's the next thing I could do to make this nice? I want to make it nice. Yeah, do a little hover. Nice. By the way, if you could have created rollover menus that easily in like 2000, you would have been like, whoa. You aren't swapping out any images right there. I don't understand how we were downloading so much crap in 2000, and today the web feels slower. Some things. That was kind of fun. I like that. That's a necessary skill to have in your toolbox. Just to be able to create a menu with a little bit of a rollover, a nice touch target, using inline block, display inline block. Okay. And if you look at your homework assignments, I kind of got home, and then at some point I came up with a bunch of stuff. So page of divs we talked about. You know, it gave you a style sheet. Your thing should look like this when you're done. So I gave you an image of what it should look like. And horizontal menu we just did. Centering with margin, 0 auto. And then box sizing, border box, you know. So all those things we just covered. You guys ready to cut some new trail? Or you feel wiped out already? It's like, oh, I thought that was class. Review. Ready to cut new trail? Okay, so we left off with this menu, right? Creating a menu, display inline. We could also do this deal. So this is a layout created all with display. Uh-oh, that doesn't look so good. Let's troubleshoot that, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do to troubleshoot it is I'm thinking that my stuff is slamming up against each other. And so here I have body, and then inside body I have nav and a UL, LI, cool. And then inside there I also have main with a couple of sections of lorem ipsum. And then main ends and body ends. Awesome. So my body, I've just said width 80%. That's going to be 80% of the whole HTML available viewport. Max width will be 700 pixels and margin 0 auto. All right. So centering the body. And then both nav and main got a border, 2 pixels solid red, and it said box sizing border box. So as I change things, it doesn't actually make them bigger. And then nav got vertical align top. I don't know if I need that. I might be taking that out. Display inline block. And width 25%. And main got display inline block with 75%. Well, you'd think that if these are things that line up, bam, bam, right next to each other, inline block, 25%, 75%, that should be okay. Well, maybe my borders, my box size and border box ain't working. It is not working. So I'm going to make that 24%. Just tone things down a little bit, give myself a little more room. Ah, nice. There's a layout. Real simple, right? One area for navigation, one area for main content. And you did it with inline block. What happens if we take this guy off? I think I'll leave him on. Vertical align top. Well, still, I think it would be nice if I could, in my head, I've got box sizing border box, so my border shouldn't be bumping up my percentage. I would like that to work 75%, 25%, because that's what I'm taking up, and that's the theory it should be working. You want to see El Stupido? This is not working, right? You want to see El Stupido? You ready? You ready for El Stupido? Watch the magic. Nav and main have a return between them. I delete that. What? That's El Stupido. That's just my own phrase. Okay, I don't know why, but that's a well-documented little feature. That's a well-documented little, intricacy and nuance, is that sometimes your layout will break because you have a space or a return between different elements. So just remember, if your layout breaks, and it should be working, making sense, right? It might be that you just need to put a return, take out the return. So that's kind of funky. Now it's all working. So that's a layout using display inline block. So next thing we're going to look at is, maybe I should have made this a new recording instead of all review. Should I start a new one? Stop.